just gonna let this do this. We finna let Lil Baby come out here in his booty coochie shorts and just pop out with his hand in his motherfucking slit and just, yeah, that's just what we do.
You heard what's going down in Atlanta right now? People are on edge, and Orlando Brown just set everything off with a wild reveal about the city's STD crisis that's got everybody talking. This situation is deeper than it looks, and it's not the story people expected at all. Atlanta's HIV numbers are through the roof, and the breakdown is raising serious savol. 72% of cases are among black residents, even though they make up only about a third of the population. Something about this whole thing feels off, and Orlando isn't staying quiet. He's calling people out, hinting at who's been keeping secrets, and dropping intense claims tied to the rap scene that have folks side-eyeing everything. It's got that what's really going on behind the scenes energy, and people are starting to connect dots that weren't obvious before. Looking at the latest data from 2024, over 40,000 people in Metro Atlanta are living with HIV, and the impact is hitting black communities the hardest. They represent just 33% of the population, but account for a staggering 72% of reported cases, which has people questioning how things got this uneven. These numbers aren't small, and they're not easy to ignore. Zoom out to the whole state, and Georgia is still ranking in the top 5 for new HIV cases, with about a 20% rise in recent years, alongside other STD rates climbing too. The stats are loud, and the streets are even louder. When everything lines up like this, it makes you wonder, is this just about access to healthcare, or is there something more complicated happening behind closed doors? This is where that whole DL conversation starts heating up.
In Atlanta, just in 2025 alone, this is August, it's been a reported 19,500 new cases.
Like, are there any men in Atlanta that's straight? Because from all, it's like 1,000 story times of niggas being down low, finding out they gay.
Atlanta has been called the DL capital for years, and fair or not, that label didn't just appear out of nowhere. The city sits right at the intersection of Southern conservatism, strong black culture, and a hip-hop scene that's always had a complicated relationship with identity and self-expression.
Knowing that you had HIV and told everybody that it was bronchitis. Okay? I was in jail. Natalie didn't say, hey, Orlando, you want to do this show? It's some guys with HIV on it.
On the surface, Atlanta feels bold, flashy, and confident. But underneath, there's a whole different story unfolding. A lot of people have been saying too many men are living double lives, trying to keep up a tough public image while hiding who they really are behind closed doors. That contrast has people talking nonstop, and not always in a good way. There have even been serious situations where secrets coming out led to dangerous conflicts, which just shows how intense and pressured things can get when people feel trapped between two identities.
Atlanta start putting tight britches on and tattoos on the front of their thighs and things like Lil Baby them, and wearing them crop top shirts. And ever since the jeans got tight, Atlanta been going downhill rapidly.
At the same time, Atlanta has a massive and thriving queer community, especially among black creatives who are owning their identity out loud and unapologetically. So you've got one side of the city celebrating freedom and self-expression, while another side is moving in silence, trying to protect an image at all costs. That split creates tension, and some say it goes even deeper than just personal choices.
Shit, he might be one nowadays.
Everybody's a gay rapper except for these niggas, except for you and me, Demosh. I know Young Thug's gay.
Hey.
I know Young Thug sucks on baby's old crusty dick. It's nasty.
There are also claims floating around that parts of the entertainment industry use pressure, manipulation, and even humiliation tactics to control artists and keep them in line. And the second someone steps outside the expected image, Atlanta's reputation can get flipped against them fast. That's exactly where Orlando Brown enters the picture, because a viral clip shows him calling out several rappers, saying they're not being honest about who they really are. And then things got even messier. Orlando didn't hold back at all. He straight up named a few Atlanta rappers, including Young Thug and Lil Baby, claiming they had past situations with each other. That claim alone had people stunned, and it instantly sent social media into chaos. Now look, a lot of people are quick to dismiss Orlando and say he's just talking wild, but sometimes the loudest voices end up pointing at something real.
And your image, they know you a man of God supposedly, right? Right? But if you a true man of God, you would have told that man he looked like a homosexual walking.
You made that shit okay. And that's what they trying to do. Use us to promote their agenda. That shit is not okay, and I'm not a man of God if I don't tell you, you pussy ass nigga, that you let that shit fly.
That's why people started paying closer attention, especially after some new receipts and rumors began floating around tied to Young Thug and Lil Baby. It had folks questioning everything and wondering if there was more truth hiding behind the noise. Then things took another turn when Thug appeared on a podcast called Perspectives with Bang, talking about the whole Gunna situation and the snitch accusations. Out of nowhere, he made a comparison that caught people off guard, linking the situation to being gay. And it left listeners confused and raising eyebrows. Now people online are saying he came off a little too defensive, and it only added more fuel to the conversation. Yeah, that moment felt off to a lot of people, and now folks are saying Thug came across way too defensive in that clip. People really zoomed in on the part where he said he's overly connected with the gay community, and the internet wasted no time reacting to that. Once that line hit, social media started going wild, breaking it down from every angle. Then, like always, the digging started. Old photos of Thug wearing skirts and makeup got pulled back into the spotlight, and people began tying them into the bigger conversation. Some saw it as self-expression, while others tried to turn it into something deeper. And that's where things started getting messy again. There's also this theory floating around that the industry pressures artists to step outside their comfort zone as a way to maintain control or build leverage over them. Some even claim there are tactics meant to embarrass or expose artists just enough to keep them in line and shape how the public sees them. It's a heavy idea, and not everyone agrees, but it keeps coming up in these conversations. Now mix all of that with the DL rumors surrounding Atlanta, and according to Orlando Brown, he's painting Young Thug as another example of how things might be working behind the scenes in the industry. Now when it comes to Lil Baby, the rumors haven't slowed down at all.
In Atlanta dating, you need to follow this page called Don't Date Him Atlanta. Most of them, if not all of them, have some type of STD, STI. This particular story about this guy, he's a cross-dresser.
They've been picking up even more speed. People started talking heavy after he was spotted at that all-white party getting real close with billionaire Michael Rubin, and that moment had social media in a frenzy. Ever since that clip, some fans have been saying Baby hasn't been moving the same, and they've been watching everything he does way more closely. Then not long after, another clip went viral, showing Baby on stage in a tank top, denim shorts, and a pink belt. What really caught attention was how he kept adjusting his shorts, showing off those fresh thigh tattoos, and the internet instantly turned that into a whole conversation. Some people brushed it off as nothing, while others started reading way deeper into it. But it's not just about Thug and Baby. Names like Playboy Cardi, Soulja Boy, Ludacris, and Lil Scrappy have all had rumors tied to them at different points, and now people online are saying this isn't new at all. It's been part of the culture for a long time. According to some voices on the internet, these kinds of whispers have been circulating for years, going all the way back to earlier eras of hip-hop. You'll even see comments claiming that certain industry circles have always had hidden layers, with people suggesting there's more going on behind the scenes than fans realize. Some bring up stories about past artists being aware of it too, adding even more mystery to the conversation and keeping the speculation alive. When it comes to Atlanta's STD situation, some locals are saying it's even more serious than what's being shown in the news, and that has people genuinely concerned. You'll hear folks online claiming that dating in the city feels risky right now, with trust becoming a huge issue in conversations. At the same time, there's been debate around the idea of more DL behavior in certain social spaces, along with discussions about LGBTQ plus influence and how all of that connects to rising STD numbers in Atlanta. So why does this DL culture seem to run so deep in Atlanta? That's where things get layered, and people have a lot of different theories. One major point that keeps coming up is the history of strict social expectations in the South, especially tied to religion, family image, and community pressure. In some environments, being openly queer can still come with serious consequences, so some individuals feel pushed to hide parts of their identity to avoid backlash. Because of that, people say some men end up living double lives, presenting one version of themselves publicly while moving differently in private. Atlanta in particular gets described as the kind of city where you can blend in easily, yet still be connected through social circles where everybody knows somebody. That mix makes it easier to stay low-key while still being part of a larger scene. Then you have the hip-hop factor. Even with progress, many feel like the culture hasn't fully opened up to queer identities, especially for male artists. So some end up what people call a glass closet situation, where insiders might know, but nothing is said out loud because speaking on it could affect careers, money, and public image in a major way. And now everything is starting to collide, and people are looking at the bigger picture like something just isn't sitting right. All these rumors, industry whispers, and public moments are stacking up, and it's making folks question how much of this is coincidence versus something deeper going on behind the scenes. At the same time, it's important to separate facts from speculation, because not everything being said online is confirmed, and things can spiral fast when names keep getting thrown around. Still, the conversation isn't slowing down, especially with Orlando Brown continuing to speak out and social media amplifying every little detail. It's like every clip, every photo, every past moment is getting pulled back up and re-examined under a microscope. What really has people locked in is how all these topics connect: the health concerns, the pressure to maintain a certain image, and the fear of being exposed in an industry that can flip on you overnight. That mix creates a situation where people feel like there's always more beneath the surface, even if not everything can be proven. Now the spotlight is fully on Atlanta, and whether people agree or disagree with what's being said, one thing is clear: this conversation isn't going away anytime soon. Now the pressure is really building, and people are starting to ask who's actually going to speak up next. Because once conversations like this hit the mainstream, it doesn't just disappear. It grows louder and pulls more people into it. Every day, new reactions pop up, more clips resurface, and the speculation keeps spreading like wildfire. At the same time, some voices are pushing back hard, saying the internet is going too far by turning rumors into facts without real proof. They're calling out how quickly narratives get created, especially when it involves celebrities, and how that can damage reputations in a serious way. Still, others argue that where there's this much smoke, there has to be something people aren't being told. Meanwhile, fans are watching closely to see how these artists move next, because every post, every appearance, and every interview is now being analyzed down to the smallest detail. Even the smallest shift in behavior is enough to spark a whole new wave of theories online. One thing's for sure: Atlanta is right at the center of this storm. And whether it's al-Hakika or just hype, the spotlight on the city and the industry is shining brighter than ever. At this point, the conversation has fully taken over online spaces, and people are acting like every new detail is a missing puzzle piece. Theories keep shifting, timelines keep getting rebuilt, and what started as isolated rumors has turned into a massive online debate that refuses to slow down. Every platform has its own version of the story, and nobody seems to agree on where truth ends and speculation begins. Still, there's a growing group of people reminding everyone that not everything being circulated is verified, and that a lot of what's trending is based on interpretation, old clips, and secondhand claims. They're saying the internet tends to turn entertainment into investigation, especially when celebrities are involved, and that can blur reality fast. But even with those warnings, the curiosity isn't fading. It's actually getting stronger. What's really fueling the situation is how quickly past moments are being re-edited and reframed in a new light. Interviews, performances, photos, and even casual interactions are being pulled into the conversation and analyzed like evidence, which keeps the cycle going non-stop. And now, with Atlanta still at the center of it all, the city has become more than just a location in the discussion. It's become the symbol of the entire debate. Whether people see it as overblown internet noise or something worth deeper reflection, one thing is undeniable: the spotlight is locked in, and it's not moving anytime soon. Atlanta gets talked about like the perfect hiding spot online. Big enough for someone to disappear in, but still tight enough that everyone somehow knows everyone else's business. And then you've got hip-hop in the mix, a culture that's made huge progress but still gets called out for not fully embracing queer identities in a safe, open way. That's why people online describe it like a glass closet situation, where nothing is officially confirmed, but rumors and assumptions move through the industry anyway. The idea floating around is that as long as nothing is said out loud, everybody can keep their position, their image, and their money without everything collapsing. So when people bring up Atlanta being labeled the DL capital, they're not just talking about individuals, they're talking about power, reputation, and everything people feel they have to protect at all costs. That's why the conversation gets tied into so many different things at once: health stats, industry rumors, Orlando Brown's comments, and viral clips that keep resurfacing online. It creates a mix where everything feels connected, even when it's not fully proven or clear. And that's exactly why people keep debating it non-stop. At the end of the day, it all turns into a bigger story about perception versus reality in a city that's always under a spotlight. Some people see it as overblown internet talk, while others think there's something deeper going on that nobody wants to address out loud. Either way, the conversation keeps growing, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want more breakdowns like this.